So regular council meeting to order, November the 5th, 7 o'clock PM at City Hall. Any additions to the agenda? We got one to change the executive session from a 10-minute meeting to a 5-minute meeting.
Would like to add the Main Street program from Ego Devo to the agenda before the EBH engineering and after SNS towing.
I'd make a motion to amend the agenda to add economic development after SNS towing.
Second.
Got a motion on the table, second by Aaron. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
I'd like to make a motion to add to new business Kansas statute 12-747, which is a city comprehensive plan.
Run it. Number
New
by-
business, but somewhere in there.
You said 12-747.
Correct.
Did you?
Second.
Yeah, same.
Got a motion on the table here, second. Second by Mark Bryant. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. We'll add that to the new business. Any other additions to the agenda? Citizen comments. Anybody have any citizen comments? Any citizen comments? Let there show to be no more citizen comments. Brings us to SNS towing. Marshall.
Jamie had asked for a contract for the junk vehicles, and I had sent her that rough draft. Basically, same as it was prior. Nothing has changed on it.
You look it over, Danny?
I did. I don't have any concerns with the contract.
I just got a general question for that. When does the city go after the owner for these fees that we're gonna be paying up front? Like on number
Like
one.
after the vehicle's told.
Yeah, like, we've got the vehicle being towed. Towing company's gonna have the, title. Is that meaning the owner's just relinquishing it
Like
to
they,
us and then we're having them tow it and store it?
I could say so. I mean, if they willingly give you the title, that's mean they're surrendering the car and then you get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
You
once
kept the cost.
Once I have a title, that car won't be in St. John no more.
right.
It'll be gone, it'll be disposed of.
Okay, so we get charged $50 per month until, if you
So-
have the title?
No, the
Okay.
only way the city would ever get charged is where you have to force. So if someone is non-compliant with turning over or getting rid of a vehicle, and the city says, come tow this vehicle, put it in impound, we're gonna prosecute them for a violation. That's when the city would be liable for the tow and the $50 a month. And that $50 a month, it doesn't matter if you've got one vehicle in there or 20 vehicles. It's just a flat rate, $50 a month.
Okay.
If you have nothing in there, it'll cost you.
So should that $50 a month be in section 1, Danny? If they have the title?
Well, once the title's turned over to me in the vehicle, there won't be anybody getting charged $50.
Got it.
Yeah.
And maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's plain removing that part
The line 2.
too. Well, no, it would probably be its own section, because either way, if they're turned over either with the title or with the bill of sale, then you're not looking at that fee, right? That's just if
No,
we're
that
asking
is,
you to.
that is only if you guys are pursuing and issuing a citation and taking them to court
And waiting for that process to
and
play
waiting
out.
for that process. That would be the only time you guys are liable for the tow fee and the $50 a month.
Understood.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'll make a motion that we, accept the contract with SNS Towing as written.
Motion on the table, here second.
Second.
Second by Mark Bryant. Any more discussion on the S&S towing recovery contract? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
You guys, thank you. Pam
Thanks,
will
Marshall.
come in tomorrow and sign it, get a copy.
Moving on, Main Street,
Yep. Alright. Have a handout. So if you wanna take that, pass it on. So I've been talking to, so the state of Kansas has a program called Kansas Main Street, and it's part of a national program. So there's the National Main Street Program, and it's basically a program to help revitalize downtown areas, to get businesses back in downtowns, to beautify the downtown area, renovate buildings, that sort of thing. So I've been working with them. Usually they have a requirement to have a Main Street director, where you have to have a full-time paid staff that is focused only on Main Street. And I've been talking to him for months about doing a county-wide Main Street program where we basically work with the towns to basically do the same thing, but the requirements are a little lowered because the towns are smaller. Each town cannot pay for their own Main Street director, that sort of thing. St. John used to be in the Main Street program back years past. If any of you want to see some binders of Main Street in the past, I have them in my office if you want to look at them.
Let's say that's how they did all the brick and stuff, isn't it?
They did some of, yeah. So Stafford also used to be in the Main Street program. They're no longer there as well. So they initially said, no, we're not going to do that. We want there to be some skin in the game, that sort of thing. So now they've decided that if a city wants to be a part of a county-wide one, each city would have to sign a letter of intent. And then there would be basically a $300 fee each year to be part of Main Street America, which is the national one. And you get access to a lot of resources online. Also a platform where you get to interact with other cities that are doing different programs and stuff like that. So they will come and do a countywide training program with the different cities participants, and then also they'll do an assessment of the downtown, and they'll also give kind of feedback of what we could do that could make downtown better. And then if we want to choose a building in the downtown area, they will also do a design for us for free as part of the program. And so they do quarterly trainings, so we could pick a few people from each town that would want to participate in those trainings and go to those trainings. I went to the one in September. It was really good. Most of it was about architecture as well as like solar on top of the buildings, just kind of talked about that. And it was in Hayes, so we were able to look at a lot of the buildings that they did with their Main Street program and how they renovated and repurposed them. And so a lot of the Main Street stuff is also around like historical preservation, and so they're trying to push for repurposing buildings to be able to be used now, because a lot of the buildings, they were built a certain way for a certain purpose. Now they're kind of, they're really long, they're kind of hard to use for the way that they're built. So just repurposing them and knowing what to do with that and that sort of thing. So I think it's a good program. My board has said that they would pay for 1 of the 2 years for the membership fee for the Main Street America, if you guys would like to participate. I don't have the LOI yet. They haven't sent it to me. I've been waiting for it.
What's an LOI?
Letter of intent. So that'd be basically the criteria that they've written here. They would put in a letter that you would sign and say you would want to participate in this program.
Is there a requirement to have a full-time person over the county?
No.
So it's just $295 a year.
Yep. And they'll come and do training here. They offer training quarterly, and then they will give you access to different resources. And there's also grants that are specific to Main Street that they offer. There was one that they were given to renovate upstairs of some of the downtown buildings to repurpose to be apartments. And I think that'd be something that would be good. We have some buildings downtown that could be apartments on the second floor. So that'd be something possibly as an opportunity as well. So
Are you just saying that in general, or, because I think, but we have to rezone them
no,
for multi-use?
not the second floor.
No,
But
if
they
they
have to
live,
have a business downstairs and then they live upstairs.
it not necessarily have to be their business, as long as a business down on the main floor,
And you have
you can rent
residential.
it to whoever
Yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this is new for them, and they're not guaranteeing anything after 2 years.
Yeah.
That if they don't feel like it's worth it, then they
Mm-hmm.
could just say, yeah. You have to have a full-time person for the program. Is that the case?
I think that there's enough people asking for this now. They told me I wasn't the only one that asked about doing it countywide. And
I'm sure they
so-
wouldn't launch a pilot program with just Stafford County, but
Yeah, I mean, maybe,
sure.
you never know. But,
Yeah.
you know, there are other counties that are asking for it because there's, you know, a lot of smaller towns that wouldn't want to hire a designated person for this purpose.
Right.
So, you don't have to make a decision tonight. It's just out here. I don't even have the LOI yet, so I'll probably come back to the next meeting, hopefully with it, and we can talk about it then a little more if you want to. If you have any more questions.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too much of a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like
Yeah.
some good could come from it.
And I think it'd be good for maybe one or two of you guys to go to one of the quarterly conferences that they have. It's like an overnight thing. It's a day and a half. And just see kind of how it is and that sort of thing. I don't know when the next one is. But whenever we do the signing, we can have a couple people go and kind of see how it is.
How many are required to be, how many representatives would our town need?
I think it's really up to you guys. I was thinking, you know, Pam obviously would be good. If you had maybe one of the city workers as well that does some stuff in the, you know, knows the maintenance and stuff around the city. And then if somebody else that you guys chose in town, you know, maybe Kyle, you know, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But somebody, I know you have a baby, so that maybe not good to travel that much. But, you know, just choosing somebody that might, could be different people also participate if you wanted to spread it around. But, yeah. Anyway, I have a few more updates if you guys have time.
Yeah.
Okay. We did a business builder grant with Heartland Food Center. It's a federal program. I supported 3 businesses from St. John area that were food business. It's a food business grant. I supported 3 businesses, helped them with the grant, writing the grant, and they submitted that. And we'll hear back probably in January if they won those. There were $50,000. There's another round of that in March that I'm trying to push more food businesses to apply for. We had like 4 or 5 people interested. 3 people did submit. We did a value-added business training on November 1st on Friday. I had 3 speakers. 2 of them were entrepreneurs that did food businesses. One of them was the value-added food lab for K-State. We had 7 businesses participate in that training. It went really well. We're hopefully going to be doing 2 similar trainings to that geared toward food-based businesses, trying to push food-based businesses in our communities. And then we just closed on a loan. We are an e-community with Network Kansas, and so we help businesses get loans at a lower rate than they can get at the bank. They have to get, obviously they have to be approved first by the bank, and then we do a partnership with the bank to do the loan from Network Kansas, partner with the bank. SGN was the one that approved that loan, and so we were able to close a loan for Mark Pope to buy the building over by Equity Bank. What color is that? Greenish,
Yeah.
greenish color.
Little laundromat.
Yeah, so what they're going to be doing is he's going to put his business in there, and then his wife is going to do kind of a by order bakery in the back of the building, and so she was also one of the people that applied for the grant to do the bakery. So we did that. I think the loan on that he decided to do like a 10-year with our side of it, and it's 6%. And if you do a shorter loan, it's 4%. So other business can take part of that as well. We're finishing up with the HEAL grant with Gray Studio. Flooring is about to be finished. Once that's done, we'll be closing out the grant. I applied for the Heritage Trust Fund grant for Gray Studio. We'll find out about that in February. And then we're applying for funding for the parks here in St. John for mulch, and possibly something else with the Stafford County Health Department. We'll be doing something part of that grant as well. And then, yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, CDBG. We are pushing forward with CDBG with the building, the Hood Haven building. We've signed a contract with the owner, who's going to be purchasing it, and the grant administrator. We've finished part of the grant process. Architect's done all the testing and everything. We had a report for the architect. We have to do a public meeting, probably early next month, and then we'll be meeting with you guys whenever you have your city council meeting to present to you about what we're going to do, getting your sign off on that, and then we'll submit in February. So I think that is all. If you guys have any questions? Yes, sir.
I got one for you. This is an email Pam sent out from your office, and it talks about the moderate income housing that's being built. And something that caught my eye was the restrictions are set by the state. They're pretty flexible, but there are some restrictions for 5 years. After the initial 5 years, we can sell or rent to whomever. You can look at this if you want.
No, I wrote it. I know what it says.
When does that restriction period start?
So
Is
it's based on when it's occupied. The
When
first
it's
time it's occupied. Yeah.
Okay.
So here you can look at this. This is the moderate income amounts.
Yeah, we had that email.
Yeah. So 60 to 150%. So people that are within that range on there are qualified to be able to do that. So they can't be low income people, and then it can't be like people to buy it to rent it. It has to be people to occupy the house.
So do they have to rent it for 5 years before they buy it?
No, they
Or
can buy
they
it.
just buy it?
They can buy it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it defaults for some reason, then we still have to wait that 5 years from the initial sale before we can sell it and rent it to anybody?
Yeah.
Or you guys?
Well, it'd still have to be moderate income.
Yeah.
They move back.
There's gonna be there will be like a deed restriction on it at the county level. So then the county will know that those houses have a deed restriction for that 5 years.
Okay.
And so that's how it works. But I mean, as I said, it's pretty flexible. If you look at the numbers, most people in our county can do that.
Now, I understand, I was just curious about this, if it was.
Oh, sure.
Is it, after each occupant's day on each house as they sell?
Yeah. I'm very motivated to occupy them because I can only access that second half of my grant money after the first 4 are occupied. So I'm very motivated by the first 4, so I'll try to get those as quickly as possible. Do you guys have any more questions?
Oh my God.
Any other questions council has?
That's fine.
Ryan?
Thank you guys, appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks,
Have a good
Ryan.
night.
You too.
Thank you.
EBH,
All right.
Welcome back.
an associate.
How you guys doing?
Project.
Doing pretty good.
Got some drawings for you to look at here. I got a couple for set up here with noise. This. I got another one for this side of the table. Got 2 copies here. This is kind of a preliminary design, and of all my years of laying out roads, I don't know that I've ever seen any this flat. And that's saying a lot
It's
in
not a good
Kansas.
thing or a bad.
So like from one end to the other, 2,700 feet, it varies a couple inches.
Wow.
And so you probably noticed that it doesn't drain very well. So you can, I'll just go over the whole thing here. I've got a couple of questions just to see how you want me to proceed, but then tell you what I've got. You knew that it had a wide right of way here, and then it narrows down here and it shifts way over to one side. So the road's gonna move over from where it is. And it doesn't give us a whole lot of space on each side of that then after that. It'll be a gradual, it won't be too noticeable if we zigzag. But what I've done, I've kind of raised it up and kind of done like this to get it to drain. There are some, like there's a pond out here, and so we would have a low point here to drain into that. And then there's a couple of other low spots. But we would probably need to get some easements from these people. It kind of naturally drains that way now anyway. That's where it goes. It all kind of heads, I assume it gets to the Rattlesnake eventually. So that's how it drains now. We're not really changing the drainage, but we will be concentrating it. And one will be paving the street. So where it's sand and gravel now, where some of that water will soak in, now it'll be pavement, and we'll be concentrating that water in these 3 spots. Well, there's actually 4, because some will dump onto the highway here too, where this last part already drains now anyway. But so we'll probably need to get, like I said, from these 3 spots, some easements to drain those off there. Do you think that'll be an issue to get those?
Do you think we only need them in those spots, or would it make more sense to have a wider easement all the way down?
We kind of we stay off their property for the most part. I mean, looks like there's power lines that kind of run through this property anyway. So I didn't see an easement for those. Doesn't mean it's not there. Maybe it's just hidden somewhere. You know what I mean? There's a overhead electric line and the power poles that kind of run up way into those properties already. But I was thinking that easement would need to go along their property to kind of, it goes across anyway. There's low points where it goes across. And so, well, this one doesn't. This just goes right into that pond. And this is on the city property anyway, right a ways out to here. But, like I said, we'll be concentrating water at a few spots on people's property where it drains across now anyway, but they're going to notice a difference. Because, like I said, there's going to be a little more runoff because of the paved surface. And then, like I said, we've kind of just runs off at a bunch of spots and kind of gets over. But so it'd be nice to have some easements in those spots, some drainage easements. That's the main issue, well, one of the main issues.
This being the north side of the road?
Yep.
Whose
Yeah.
property would that be?
Um,
Kyle,
This is
is
all
that
Smith.
Probably
This
Kansas
is,
Dirt.
Kansas Dirt? Probably.
it says Daniel and Tessa Smith,
No, it's farther.
and then this
Pretty
one.
close to
I'll
the
say this
factory
is
plant.
Santa Fe here, so
Yeah,
So yeah, I guess it would be. farther
yeah, it's
west.
not Kansas or till up here.
and then this one is Butler. No,
Beitler.
Beitler. Yeah, I can't read upside down. And then by shifting the road too, then this is where the rest home is. By shifting that road, we cut off the parking sticks way out in there now. By shifting the road over, we're cutting off a lot of that parking. So if anybody were to park in that spot when we're done, as you can see, it would stick out into the street. We'd narrow that so much by shifting the road over. I don't know how much, I've never seen a car parked there when I've been by, but,
That building's being torn down.
okay.
That buildings belong to us.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well then that won't be a problem then. But that was, yeah, so,
Is that the old nursing home?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's the shed that Fisher owns? Is the shed ours
It's
too?
further down to
Okay,
the
so
west.
that's not
Yeah.
affected, okay.
because the same thing here, you can see this is the right of way for Santa Fe. They take up almost half of it with their parking there. So I've matched that, but that makes this road here really narrow. I don't know if that matters, it doesn't look like it's a lot of traffic through there, but if that's gonna come out anyway, of course there's a curb there, you might leave that. So I kinda, like I said, I kinda tied into that. But really that road should be shifted over.
We are talking about, because right now, this right here is all dirt road.
Mhm.
We would like to go ahead and concrete it in all the way to 4th, so that way we don't have to grade that little tiny little
But you-
dirt road right there.
What were you planning on redoing, the curb and the parking too?
I mean,
We don't need the park.
yeah, we
parking, the
don't
building's
need,
being torn down.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're taking it down.
So, I mean, if we could, I could put my radiuses more, the curb radius is more in the middle. It'd fit that road a lot better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can move it however, since
Yeah.
that belong to us.
Wouldn't VFW be on this side of it?
Mm-hmm.
And
there
we
a-
own that too, so.
Is that shed right there? Cause yeah,
Yeah.
even shrinking it way down, I cut the corner of the right of way there, but you guys own this building?
Yes.
Nice. Makes it a lot
So-
easier.
Yeah. Well, we need to acquire any utility easement for any of, gas line or anything.
They're in the easement. We're gonna be building over the top of them, but they're
Right.
in the easement. They're in the easement that's there. The only thing that really isn't in the easement is this overhead power. And like I said, it may have its own easement that I couldn't find. Some things aren't, a lot of things aren't always filed the way they should, but here, this piece, of course, they're in this wider right of way, but when it narrows up here, everything else is pretty close to in the right of way. So, and we will be too, but there's just not a lot of space outside of it. And then up here at the end, because we've shifted the road over, we're gonna have to see all those trees in there, we're gonna have to trim those back. Well, we'll still be on the right of way, but they've kind of encroached on the right of way. So it's something if they just, people here just love those trees, they're not gonna be real happy with us trimming them back. And the other thing I wanted to ask, is just to get you thinking about a bunch of stuff here. Originally, I hadn't planned on putting paved, you know, where the driveways are for the houses and businesses. I wouldn't plan on putting paved approaches there. I show them on here, just to kind of show little entrances, wherever everyone's got an entrance. But that wasn't in my original estimate, so that it'd be on the city to do those. It'd look nice. It'd help, you know, clean up where people drive off the road. A lot of times if you don't have the entrances, they drive over, kind of leaves a dip behind it, but that's an extra expense. I show it in here, but I don't know what your thoughts are on doing that. Just putting
Well,
the-
how many easements do we need to get that aren't city owned? Just,
On the north side, I'm assuming.
So
Yeah.
there'd be a drain there.
and a drain here. This one jumps into that pond. We should have a drainage easement anyway because we're dumping into that pond, but we don't put anything off of city property, but we are draining the
Drain
street
it.
onto private property. We already, like I said, it already does that now. It all drains, a big chunk of it already drains into that pond. So we're not gonna change the drainage, but like I said, we might, it just might be a little more than, just because we're concentrating it. So it's just nice to have an easement, so then,
Would that be Dick Smith?
Mm-hmm.
so probably 3. And then, like I said, we have to tear out part of their drive for this road here. And that would actually be the right of way there, it's just kind of a zigzag around. So that would actually be on their property, but that's something if they didn't sign that, we would just not replace their driveway, we just,
who owns that? Is that
it's the,
fuel company or is
Yep.
that Hapa?
No, that's north side. That's the grocery store.
yeah, grocery
okay.
store, yeah.
So do you do the easement, like do you draw up the paper or
I
does
would-
our attorney does it? Or?
I would do the legal description, and then the attorney would actually do the actual easement, the paper, just the legal part of it. We'd have a drawing and a legal description.
I mean, for future planning, maybe it's not a big deal, but I mean, I'd be more comfortable having a wider easement than the road, just so that you, as a city, always have.
Yeah, because you're gonna have, outside of the road, in your easement, you're gonna have like 5
nothing.
feet.
I mean, you're not
Yeah.
gonna have enough room to shake a stick at. If we need to move a sewer line, or if we need to, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, we would have no right to be off. And I mean, you look at through the whole city, and our easement, you know, is 20 feet into people's yards. Now, most of the time, we're not doing anything in there, but it's still, the city has the right to be there if we need to be. And so that would be my concern, is we've got the survey done and the ability to make those exhibits. I wouldn't be opposed. Maybe we don't need 100 foot, but, or whatever this easement is, but getting 10 foot on each side of the road, making sure we have at least some that we have the right for.
Is that counting your sidewalk too, you're thinking about doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do a sidewalk, we'd have to have some.
Yeah, that you
On
couldn't
one
fit a
side of the
sidewalk
road.
in with what we've got right now.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. I mean, you're gonna have to do that anyways for that. So,
Sidewalk on the north side is what we were thinking about, right? That's what, 4 feet?
we talked about,
Would be a
Yeah,
standard
but then a normal
size, yeah.
side.
it'd be 4 foot,
Width.
but it'd be 5 or 6 feet off of the road too.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Oh,
you know,
And then that, my new flumes would cause a problem for that too. We'd have to make sure that the water got underneath those sidewalks.
Okay.
I'm sure there's an easement with the power lines there.
I'll bet there is. Like I said, I couldn't find it, but I'll bet it's there.
I'll have to look on maps too and see what it says.
But it might just be worded as just an electric easement, and then that really doesn't allow us to put drainage onto it. So it'd be nice to have that. But like so with this cost share grant, we're on a clock. We don't have a lot of time. So if someone in here isn't agreeable to it, and we're going to fight it out for 2 years. Well, then we'll lose this funding.
Well, guess don't get what you don't ask for. Well, look at it.
But even on a couple of these, I mean, it's kind of just draining through here. So if they weren't agreeable, I could shift this over. And same with this one, I could get it over onto another property if one were more agreeable than another, because it's kind of just low areas that water drains through now, and I can move that a little bit.
So what are you looking for from us tonight? What do you want?
Well, I just tearing those trees out, not tearing them out, but cutting them back, trimming them
Trim
back.
up?
Is that going to be a problem?
Whose trees are they?
It'd be
I think
that
they're-
property just south of the grocery store.
Is that the same guy?
Knives.
Same guy that has the-
And
I
then
mean, it doesn't. I mean, I don't want to pick a fight with someone.
yeah, exactly.
We have the right to trim them in our easement. So
Right.
We just need to make sure it communicates. The
yeah,
big
it
thing.
needs to be communicated. We shouldn't just go
Tree
trim them
trimming?
out, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, do we think that these are going to pose a problem? I don't know what else we can do. There's nowhere for the water to go. Everything's so flat. It's not like I can put storm sewer and get it to the highway, because the highway ditch is only a couple inches lower. I can't really get it anywhere. So, I'd like that I can shift it one way or the other a little bit.
How long is our easement into those trees?
Probably the trees probably come maybe 8 feet.
So we need to trim 8 feet
We
back?
won't need to trim all 8 feet. I mean, like I said, we're still 4 feet off the right of way, so we're probably going to trim back 4 or 5 feet.
Okay, I just, when I
Roughly.
talked to him,
Yeah,
he's
roughly.
probably
Yeah.
sure.
And hopefully there are no trunks, and then it's just going to be branches. So
I mean, the sidewalk's going to be on us either way. As far as like losing grant funding, that's so. Is there a scenario that we plan our drainage, assuming that we will have a sidewalk, but
On
we
the
don't,
north side?
but we don't worry about getting all those easements, because you get into litigation or you get into back and forth,
yeah,
and your timeline gets pushed out. Well, the sidewalk isn't going to be paid for by this grant anyways.
Yeah.
So
We can put
focus
that
on what's going to
anytime,
be
yep.
done, but do it in a way that we're planning to put the sidewalk on the north side, and then we can have those conversations whenever for the easement for that sidewalk. But plan the road in a way that we're going to have a sidewalk on the north side.
if you're going to separate it from the road, we'd probably just put a pipe at those points. If we're going to put the sidewalk right against the curb, I'd put a different type of flume there that the water would break through. Does that make sense?
I was thinking just put the sidewalk against the curb, unless, that's just what I had thought would happen, for whatever reason.
Wouldn't that be kind of a safety thing?
I'd
It
say
would be
it's
too
just-
close to the road.
People are going to be driving 40 miles an
Yeah.
hour down the road.
No, change the speed limit.
They're still going to drive 40.
I was gonna say.
And there's nothing wrong with putting it normally, like if you do it for KDOT, if it goes up against the curb, they say it should be 6 feet wide. That way people can walk off a little bit.
Okay.
So if you move it over, they still like 5 feet wide, but ADA, you could probably get by with 4 foot wide. But yeah.
All right. So what do we need to start the process? You do what you need to do, and then go with the Pam.
Yeah,
do
just
with
like I
the
said,
Andy.
maybe if you think one property owner would be more agreeable, if not, I can just write the easements like I have them here, and we can just see, and then we can always rewrite them if we have problems.
I guess we can start with that. and
Okay.
go
Yeah,
from there.
start there.
And then as far as the other question, really for now, do you want to put any kind of concrete back for approaches off of the road for driveways, or just wanna just have a curb cut where they can do what they want later. Like I said, it's an extra expense, but
I'm just wondering if that would help sell the easement.
I don't know if any of the easements go on properties that
I mean, the
have
one
them.
that,
they don't.
they don't, okay.
It's like here, there's a driveway here, a driveway here, and so a driveway here, here, so
Cities
Here,
have drawn
yeah.
some-
here, and here. I show them on there, but like you said,
So do you have to do them all the same?
skate
You have to do them all the same?
driveways.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
cutoffs.
can you do like,
I like to have them consistent, just so I don't have to have a lot of different details and.
And you're just talking about like a 3-foot approach or?
Yeah, on this
4-foot
side, I'd only have a
approach?
couple feet because the easement's smaller. I think on this side, I have a 5 foot and then just
Yeah.
kind of what there's room for, but they're all a similar style.
Yeah.
It's a KDOT style driveway. So now I have it drawn here. I do have an updated cost estimate, but it includes all those driveways. And it includes, because I originally had asphalt, but now this piece here to here is concrete, 10-inch concrete, and the rest would be bid, concrete or asphalt, 6-inch or 5-inch. So I have an updated estimate for you. So this is based on just the current construction costs, which could change. Like I said, this includes those driveways which weren't in the. Beautiful part. There's a couple there.
Thank you.
Kind of has a description at the bottom. It shows just, it's like I said, the costs are my guess based on what current bids have gone for. So,
and
Oh.
this with the approach?
yes, with the approaches, that concrete pavement 6-inch, that's for those approaches. Which a part of that is this, I repaved that piece of that parking there, which that'll come out, since I know that's getting torn down now. There's one persistent fly.
So sorry.
Had him there, let him go.
This out portion that we are responsible for, does that have to be paid upfront right away? Or does it break out into like, okay, when we're done with this phase of the project, then this much is due? Or how does that work as far
Well,
as payment
I mean, you've already
goes?
paid part of it,
Right,
part of mine.
right.
And so you'll, as I bill mine, will be some of it, and then once we go to construction, each month, there'll be an
Okay.
estimate, but just, yeah, the construction will probably take 3 months, so you'll pay the majority of that over 3 months.
3 months.
Does the city give, or does the state give us a lump sum at the beginning or the end of the project?
Each month, they'll give you they'll give you their 80%.
Oh, okay.
We'll turn in, when I work up a pay estimate each month for what work they've done, we'll have a guy out here checking it and measuring it. We'll do a pay estimate, and then with that, we'll provide, they give you a sheet, which I have a copy of. We'll fill that out for the reimbursement, and you'll get both those, and you'll turn those into KDOT for your share,
Okay,
so each month.
okay.
And they should have it to you in a couple weeks. So, and normally, you'll have the pay estimate that goes to the contractor. You could wait a couple weeks, wait till you get your share to pay them.
Sure, yeah. Because I was just trying to determine, like, on our portion of the bill, whether to, if we were gonna have to pay a lump sum, like, you know, at the same time, then that 1% is not gonna be enough to cover that. But if it's like one bill here, one bill there every 2-3 months, then we might be able to get by without taking out loans or bonds or that.
And this won't be till next year.
Okay,
So-
because right now I was kind of doing a little calculation, and if we are, I mean, some money are spoken for already, and if we are to use that fund to fund this project, we probably should not use that money for anything else. I think this is very possible to do with that without having to take the loan out if the project were to start next year. Because right now we have close to 300,000, and what we are obligated to pay, it's already been paid. So that's what we have at the end of this year. So, and next year there's that $50,000 to the grocery store, and the monthly sales tax that we give back to the grocery store. That's the average is around 17,000. So I think if this project were to spread out for 2 years, then I think it's very possible to do it without taking out loans.
And I could slow it down. We could push this into 2026 too.
Yeah,
If we
that
wanted
might
to.
be something that we could look at.
There's a
just
little
in
bit of
case.
flexibility, but not a lot.
Okay.
But we could probably push it into the spring of 2026 if you wanted.
But if you guys prefer to take out loans and then we'll just pay it out of the 1% just so we have more breathing room, then that's totally up to you guys. I'm planning on having that estimate of what I was just telling you guys done so you guys can see, and maybe we can decide then of how we want to proceed on as far as funding on our portion.
Okay. Well, that's nice to know. I guess the first, what we gotta do is have you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we'll get those 3 easements together.
Move it on to Danny. See what happens. Hopefully it goes smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do. Just we're talking about 3. It seems like though if we do the whole thing, we're talking about 20 easements. There's always going to be 1 or 2 that you're not going to get, and that holds everything up for years sometimes.
Mhm.
So no one likes to condemn anything. So
It's expensive.
it makes everybody mad.
Well, great drawings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you send PDFs of these to Pam?
Yeah,
Just-
yeah. And now, like I said, now that I kind of know where we're going, I'll finish up. Like I said, it's mostly design, but I don't have it in plan form yet because I didn't want to go to the trouble. If you looked at that tonight, and go like, that's no good. I don't want to. So I had to change something. Didn't want to change everything.
I don't want to discount what you're doing, but anything looks good compared to what's out there.
So I'm gonna shift that with the thought that we can even have them tear out this first piece of curb and gutter here with this part, and then I won't put this back. In fact, I'll probably have them tear out that whole thing too, just 'cause it's in the way. That sound all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sounds good.
And then, did we decide on the entrances? Do something? Do nothing?
I think we should do
I think we
them.
should, if it's a new road, it should look,
It just
clean.
looks better, and then like I
Yeah.
said, if you don't, then it puts a lot more dirt and sand from the driveways onto the road, which you'll still have some, of course, but
yeah. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It's exciting.
Do we need a motion on that? Or?
No, I guess we
No,
bring them
just-
back. I
yeah.
guess.
yeah, nothing yet then, so
Yep.
just the direction we're headed. I'd like to take one to mark up, but if you want to keep the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And actually, the second sheet is just,
Elevation.
yeah, how the road fits in there. So how I tried to match it pretty close to what was out there, so. Just gonna show how it fits in there. You can kinda see though how the road shifted. This is where the old road is and we've moved it over now. So we'll have to cut out a little dirt on one side, but most of it fits in pretty good.
600 feet.
So that's station 6 plus 0, 0. So if you take that back to this drawing here, that would be 6 plus 0, 0 fits right there.
Right where it starts to shift.
Anything else?
No,
I
did a
haven't
great
even emailed
job.
yet. I'm still checking on that other, so I'll get back to you. Trying to figure out. There'll probably be some questions.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'll go get together sometime.
Okay.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
You guys good with this?
Any other discussion on Fifth Street project? Moving on, consent agenda, I entertain a motion for 2 minutes of regular council meeting October 15th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve regular council meeting minutes, October 15th, 2024.
You got a motion on the table here, second?
Second.
Second by Aaron Raines, all in favor? All opposed, passes 5-0. I entertain a motion for appropriation orders 110524 AP for the amount of $91,380.
Go ahead. Make a motion to approve appropriation ordinance 110524 AP for $91,380.
Got a motion on the table here, second?
Second.
Got a second by Mark. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Probably need a motion for approving the Superior Emergency Response Vehicle transfer equipment from old Durango to the new one. This is, we have reimbursement after they
Yeah.
pay us back.
Make a motion to approve Superior Emergency Response Vehicle invoice for $4,381.80.
Got a motion on the table here, second?
Second.
Got a second by Mark. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Department head, electric department, Curtis.
Well, Kirby Mechanical will be here, be next Tuesday, the 12th, to start on that, 14th, start working on it, try to get it finished up. And when KMEA was down testing our breakers, they found our switchgear batteries being bad. We talked about it a while back, I finally got some quotes back on those. And some of the paperwork, I'd like to have permission to maybe go ahead and order those batteries.
Yeah.
It sends a signal to our breakers, open and close them. And when we were testing them, if they tested it a couple times, that voltage would drop and it'd take a long time to recover.
Will we have to pay tax on
They
this?
go bad, you won't be able
Yes,
to open them.
for the electric.
So up to 4,000. I'd make a motion to buy the batteries needed, from CBM, not to exceed, for 10 of them, not to exceed $4,000.
Motion on the table here, second?
Second.
Second by Mark. Any more discussion on the batteries? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
And also in your packets, there is a revised version of that Foley Caterpillar maintenance to one time a year. And it's a 3-year long contract.
It is about $1,000 cheaper on each engine. They were really wanting our contracts.
I thought they had it in there.
Huh?
Oh,
They
they
do.
did. Okay.
Yeah,
They
we-
do.
Oh,
So nothing different than what we already approved.
Nope, just the price and that it's annual instead of semi-annual.
And we, again, pay taxes on this, right?
Sadly, yes.
So what do you want the motion for?
Well,
13.5
on the,
a year?
on the contract, no, cause it's a labor, so that's, like, we don't, when we buy stuff, that's when we pay taxes on the electric.
So this won't have tax on it.
No, this would be the exact amount that they'll be
Okay.
charging us.
I'd make a motion to accept the updated Foley Cat contract in the amount of $12,142.14 per year over the next 3 years to total $36,426.42.
Got a motion on the table, do I hear a second?
Second.
A second by Aaron Raines, any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Anything else for Curtis from the council? Water Department, Jason.
No, I didn't have anything on there unless you guys want to talk about that, well, that's on my sheet there, unless you want to talk about anything on this.
How's your conversations with water rights for well 6?
We're working on the letters.
The
and-
letter?
Yeah, and then we'll submit the final copy to you guys to see if you guys like what you see before we actually send it off and talk to her. So
What's the due date on that?
December, yeah,
End of
so
year.
at the end of the year, so
Okay.
that time.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Any other questions from council for Jason on the street or water? Okay, with no more questions, Police Chief Torrey, council got any questions they wanna ask Corey? Torrey? Moving on, Fire Chief Mike.
I need to add Danton Hilton to the fire roster.
I'd make a motion to add Danton Hilton to the city fire department.
Second.
Got a motion on the table by Kyle, second by Aaron. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mike.
Does he know you're doing this?
Yeah. He volunteered, so yeah.
City Clerk, Pam.
Thank you. Do you guys have any questions regarding my reports?
So we got a couple.
Sure.
When you spoke to the postmistress, did you mention to her about moving it to grocery store?
Yes, she said that with the schedule that they're on, it's gonna take too much time out of their schedule for somebody to go and get the mail. And when the mail truck that come and get the mails, from Wichita, it's gonna conflict with their schedules. But
Because I was thinking about it. Those two mailboxes are what, 4 feet apart? The one outside to the one inside.
I would, yeah.
So
It's silly. But,
Yeah, it's she
Yeah, I
was
read.
not interested. So,
okay.
So can we hire a ticket for putting it on the sidewalk? They don't want to have a real conversation about it?
well, I'm a little conflicted on that one because it's not in
I
the
don't wanna
middle
start
of
a
the
fight.
sidewalk. And, obviously we have our stuff on them. Technically, well, yeah.
Find it, like, you're gonna walk up to the door to put the mail in, but you can open the door and put the mail in, so.
But they probably lock it for after hours.
They don't.
They
Then
don't
you
actually.
can go in.
Oh, I guess you can go get your mail.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, that's.
The problem I see is the ice in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Because people are gonna get out, they're gonna slip, probably.
We had one that
Yeah, we had 2
broke
people die in the
hip
county
or
last year.
something.
Falling on ice.
that's
What?
true.
Gerald,
At the post office.
Cyril,
So yeah, Cyril over.
what was his name?
Galen.
Galen.
Yeah.
I can
Guess just
maybe
wait and
talk
I mean,
to
if it's-
Danny and
I'll
see.
say if it's not, I don't want to start a fight. I'm just saying like that's just ridiculous.
I see the point, I mean,
And I offer everything that we talked about and a little bit more even, and she was not interested. So,
When is she gonna hear back from her supervisor?
that I don't know. I need to follow up with her on that.
Okay,
So,
see what happens. So, I like the way you set up your your violation list.
I figure it'll be easier for us to keep
Very
track of.
self-explanatory. So do you wanna make a motion now to get rid of,
Yeah, if you guys
This-
want to, yeah.
are you guys okay with that?
Should we, yeah, either way, we might, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, make a motion to take off under old business, the property code violations that are currently on here, and have Pam put them on her new form.
Do you still want it to be on old business so that there's a place to talk about property code violations?
So
or
I'm
just not have
planning
individual
on
properties?
bringing it up during, like, updated you guys during my
During
sessions.
clerk report?
Yeah,
Okay.
if there's changes, if they, if there's owners that have reached out or that kind of stuff. So I'll make sure to update you guys, and this report will be submitted in your packet before each meeting.
Sure,
So,
that works for me.
Sounds
good. I'll second the motion.
Got a motion on the table and a second to allow Pam to change the code violation. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
Got a question for you, Pam, on the junk vehicle violation. Was there any vehicles on that?
I'm working on a
Okay.
list. I actually have a citizen volunteer to help with that, so she's compiling a list for me. So
Okay.
we'll probably start sending out letters next week when she submitted the list.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot on the list that's going to be on the list. So,
Okay.
Oh, boy.
yeah. So, you know, if I go missing, that's
No, I
not
saw you
my
had it
fault.
on there, but there's nothing listed, so I just thought maybe it was a misprint.
Yeah, no, I just didn't have enough time because I was at the conference last week, so we didn't have enough time to get together with the citizen to get it all
Okay.
out, so.
Well, depending on how much time that citizen spends, is it something we should think about
Oh,
compensation?
she's happy to volunteer, so I kind of mentioned that. I asked her if she wanted to pay or if she wants to be our part-time code enforcer, and she doesn't want to, she just want to help,
Okay.
so.
Any other questions for Pam?
I don't have any.
Anybody else? Moving on. Danny?
I don't think I have anything to add unless you guys have questions for me. Pam had a handful of questions that I got some of them answered late today, and the others I'll get with her and get those answered for her.
Okay.
Any questions for the attorney from the council?
Nope.
Moving on, old business, property code violations, 518 West Fourth.
We just
Talked
We
removed,
about
removed
we
that.
remove all of that,
I guess they tore that one down, didn't
yes.
Which one?
they? Since it's on here.
The 518 West Fourth, that's gone, so that will not be on this list. Well, I'm actually gonna add a little section here that say the house is gone, and then I'm gonna put that under there for a couple weeks, and then I'll take it off so you guys can see it.
Also, the one up once the school's gone, I think.
That's
wasn't
not,
us.
yeah,
Oh, that
The
wasn't
city-
it?
Yeah.
The school bought that property, and
Mhm.
the school paid to tear
I
it down.
wasn't aware of that. Okay, moving on, Fifth Street Road, we already talked about that, unless somebody else wants to talk about it again. 2024 housing violations,
that's gonna be removed and put it on this report too,
Okay.
so.
we wanna take that off too. Water rights for well number 6, water well.
We talked about
Talked
that
about
already.
Talked about it,
so.
new business, we talked about the contract, talked about the White Food Liner, a quote from KMA about the new batteries for the generators.
We
Hang
need
on.
White's
The
serial
CMB license is included in your package. I just need your approval to pass that so I can grant them the license.
I'd make a motion to approve the cereal malt beverage license for 2025 for White's Food Liner.
Second.
Motion on the table and a second by Mark. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Okay.
Then it's me for the state statute. Is that okay? So we talked about it a few meetings ago, and it wasn't brought up. So the city comprehensive plan, I think Pam, you're gonna talk to the zoning people. And I just wanted to bring it back up because I just happened to listen to this little tape that I've already listened to. So to answer your question that you had last time, are we stuck with it? we're not. I mean, they want you to review it annually, and you can make changes or not make changes. It's something from the state that we're supposed to have. So what did you come up with the board or the zoning board?
So they are wanting to send out a questionnaires to see what exactly the citizen is wanting to see or wanting our town to head toward, basically. They were talking about maybe holding a public hearing to see the opinions and stuff like that. Nothing really set in stone, but I do want to tell you guys that I'm actually doing some of that comprehensive plan here in the office as well, as far as the city goes. We have been having a department head meetings of what we've got going on and stuff like that. I am planning on putting everything into a little book, I would say, of 2025. Here's the projects that we're gonna be doing, you know, in the spring, summer, fall. Here's the budget that we have for each project and stuff like that. And here is the project that we maybe will be looking to do in 2-3 years that maybe we need to start saving money for and that kind of stuff. So that part is taken care of here, and it will be presented to you at the first meeting in January. That's how I see the comprehensive plan. I don't know what else you wanted to add to it as far as.
Well, maybe, I don't know either, Pam. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
And maybe we can see how other cities do it, and maybe.
Because I have read like Dodge City. Obviously they're a lot bigger than us. It looks to me like they have a little bit of everything, like, you know, the subdivision that they may be trying to acquire and grow their property and stuff like that. And a lot of those, when I read through it, I don't feel like our town would be able to accomplish, you know?
Right.
I mean, our town's growing, but it's growing very slowly. So I feel like we should focus on maintaining what we have, and then maybe once we get that step done, we can focusing on growing, which, like, you know, we can create a plan for maintaining our town the first 5 years, and then revisit then after that and see, okay, here's what we got, let's focusing on growing our town, and we can do that. I don't know, like, it's such a broad plan that I'm having a hard time focusing on what you guys wanted to see, you know? That's why I was wanting to get together with them to at least create the plan for the city, of what we have to do to maintain our town.
Do you think, well, it says the zoning board is to make the comprehensive plan with a representative from the city council. So if Dennis has done one before, not being extravagant, like, I mean, just something so we can have it on the books because we're supposed to have it. And from what I heard on do you still have that video that they sent us after
I
you went
had it
through?
in email, yes.
Maybe you can email it just so everybody has the basic understanding of listening to it. So you guys don't just believe me, you can actually listen to the information and just see if we can get something just to meet the standard. And then,
Well, I feel like what we're doing to present it to you would meet the standard of that video. That's how I took it from that video. You have some sort of plan that you're gonna follow. Obviously that plan's not set in stone. There's gonna be changes and stuff like that. What Dennis was kind of talking about is that, like, there has to be a study first of the demographic, the populations, and all that stuff. And then after that study, then you go out and you ask the public, okay, based on the study, what would you like to see?
so they're thinking have the survey first and then have the study? As far as reaching out to the community to
Yeah.
see. Well, I guess we're moving forward. I just didn't know it.
But the studies, obviously, it's gonna be very intensive, and it's gonna be, I don't know how much it's gonna be. I don't even know where to turn to even go and get that started as far as the study of the demographics and stuff like that goes, you know? And I'm sure that there's some that we can do ourselves. I don't feel, because they all volunteers, the zoning members, and they all have, you know, regular jobs just like you guys. I would feel bad to have them committed to something that would be very intensive, time consuming to come up with that plan, you know.
Would you be open to just reaching out to the League of Municipalities and see what they recommend?
I mean,
On a
that's
cost
not a
engineer it,
problem,
that we
yeah.
don't have a lot of money. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. Everybody has jobs, and it's a
Well, I like Pam's idea of having a year-long plan, and you plan maybe 2 or 3 years in advance just for our department heads to have projects. I mean,
well, maybe
I don't think she's wrong. Like, we can't be making a plan that the city wants to acquire this land to build a subdivision. That's not the type of city that we are. So
No, I agree.
So
with
I think
you.
that those kind of projects, the maintaining and the slight improvements of our infrastructure or our park or our whatever the project is gonna be the City of St. John's city plan. It's gonna be that.
And that's how I see it, as our comprehensive plan. And that, I mean, that's what I took it from that video.
Maybe it's getting the carnival back for the Jubilee.
Yeah, I guess I get confused because what you're saying is an infrastructure plan, but then how does that tie into zoning? What does zoning have anything to do with it?
So the zoning would like, cause you know, like in a bigger city, they have their own department. They oversee like the new land development and looking into getting that into the city and then set the zoning and stuff like that. That's how I understand it.
Incentivizing businesses
Yes.
and growth and
Yeah,
So-
they regulate like the business and stuff like that would come to
So
town.
it's just finding areas that you're gonna develop for business
Pretty
and or
much.
housing or
Yes,
whatever.
it doesn't have a whole lot to do with infrastructures. When I read through a bunch of comprehensive plans from different cities, but I can't really find a plan that came from the city our size or close to our size. It's always bigger, you know, because obviously they have
That's
more
it.
potential.
Without knowing a lot, it just doesn't seem like it applies to a town our size.
I don't think it's a bad idea to have some sort of plan. I just, like I said, the term is very broad, so I feel like we need some sort of directions to where do you want this plan to go and just focus on that instead of trying to copy other city and like, oh, they have this and this and this, and so we have to have this and this and this. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Well, maybe, what, with your idea, I mean, if it works if the league thinks it's acceptable, then we have our answer.
right. So I guess when we presented that at the first meeting in January, I can always send a copy to the league and see what they say. Because the statute that you brought up, I haven't read it. I don't know what that is.
I just Googled it,
Okay.
city code for Kansas, and
Okay.
it popped that up.
Sure.
So, yeah, if you're, with what you were doing with the department heads, if that works for them, then we met the criteria of having a plan.
Yeah. So I wasn't gonna present it to you guys until I have a concrete, not evidence, but like documentations and just telling you that, hey, this is what we're doing. But we just now start talking about this, so nothing is set in stone yet.
Okay.
Once we're further along, then yeah, you guys will be updated on those.
Cool.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Any more questions for Pam? On the zoning?
Who else do we need in the executive? Table one, chief. I'd make a motion for a 5-minute executive session to include council, mayor, attorney, clerk, and chief of police.
Got a motion on the table here, second?
Second.
Second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0, and we're going into executive session for 5 minutes. Be back at 8:16.
15.
Out of executive session, back into regular council meeting.
I'd make a motion to accept Patrick Piper's resignation from the City of St. John Police.
Second.
Got a motion on the table with a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Anybody got anything else they wanna talk about? I think that's the end of it. Unless somebody's got something.
I'd make a motion to adjourn regular council meeting November 5th, 2024.
Got a motion on the table, here a second.
Second.
Second by Aaron Raines. Council members over.
Need a vote on it.
Oh.
5-0. Okay.